When Joseph said to his father, "O my father, I saw 11 planets, and the sun and the moon, I saw them prostrating for me," he said, "O my son, do not storify your vision upon your brothers, so they would plan for you a plan. Surely Satan is for humans an obvious enemy, and thus your Lord elects you, and will teach you from the narration's interpretation, and will complete his graces upon you and upon Jacob's folk, as he has completed it before upon your forefathers Abraham and Isaac. Surely your Lord is knowledgeable, wise." And already it was in Joseph and his brothers are verses for the questioners, when they said, "Joseph and his brother are more beloved to our father than us, and we are a gang. Surely our father is in an obvious astray. Kill Joseph or cast him out to a land. Your father's face will be alone for yours, and you will be after that a righteous kinfolk." Said a speaker among them, "Do not kill Joseph and throw him into unseen parts of the well. Some caravan may pick him up, if you were doing." They said, "O father, why do you not trust us upon Joseph, and we are advisers for him? Send him with us tomorrow, to relish and play, and surely we are keepers for him." He said, "Surely it grieves me that you go with him away, and I fear the vol feeding him while you are inattentive about him." They said, "If the vol fed him, and we are a gang, we would be losers then." So, when they went away with him, and consented to set him up into unseen parts of the well, and we revealed to him, "You will inform them of their matter," this, while they do not feel. And they came to their father at dinner time, crying. They said, "O father, we went racing, and quit Joseph at our belongings, so the vol fed him. And you are not believing for us, even though we are truthful ones." And they brought on his shirt with false blood. He said, "Nay, but your souls facilitated for you a command." So, a beautiful patience, and Allah is almost and the helper against what you are describing. And a caravan came, so they sent their water drawer. So, he lowered his bucket, and said, "Good tide. Here is a lad," and they concealed him as merchandise. And Allah was with what they were working, knowledgeable. And they sold him for a cheap price, a few dirhams, and they were for him among the abstaining ones. And the one who purchased him from Egypt said to his woman, "Lionize his dwelling. Perhaps he may benefit us, or we take him as a son." And we thus enabled Joseph in the earth, and to teach him among the narration's interpretation. And Allah is an overcomer upon his command, but most of the people are not knowing. And when he reached his strength, we gave him wisdom and knowledge. And we thus recompensed the benefactors. And she who he was in her house seduced him about himself. And she shut the doors and said, "My mine are yours, come on." He said, "Allah is my incantation. Surely, he is my master. He lionized my dwelling. Surely the oppressors are not gaining." And she was interested in him, and he was interested in her, unless that he saw his Lord's evidence. And thus, to divert the badness and the obscenity from him. Surely, he was from our sincere slaves. And they raced towards the door, and she tore his shirt from the back. And at the door they found her master. She said, "What is the penalty for him who wanted badness with your family, except that he was imprisoned or a painful torment?" He said, "She seduced me about myself." And a witness from her family witnessed, "If his shirt is torn from the front, so she truthed, and he is among the liars. And if his shirt is torn from the back, so she has lied, and he is among the truthful." So, when he saw that his shirt was torn from his back, he said, "This is from your plot. Surely, your plot is great. Joseph, turn away about this. And you, the woman, ask forgiveness for your misdeed. Surely you were among—
Ask forgiveness for your misdeed. Surely you were among the guilty ones. And women in the city said, "The cherished man's woman is seducing her guy about himself. Already he was causing passion to her in love. Surely, we see her in obvious astray." So, when she heard with their guile, she sent to them, and prepared for them a cushion, and she gave each one among them a knife. And she said, "Exit out upon them." So, when they saw him, they aggrandized him, and cut their hands. And they said, "Prevention for Allah. This is not a humankind. Surely this is none except a noble angel."
She said, "So, this is what you blamed me for, and I already seduced him about himself, so he holds firmly refuse. And if he does not do what I order him, he will be imprisoned and will be from the subdued ones." He said, "My lord, the prison is lover to me from what they call me to it. And unless you divert from me their plot, I would crave for them and be among the ignorant ones." So his lord responded to him and diverted their plot about him. Surely he is Ol-Sameu the hearer, Alalim the knower. Then it seemed to them, after they had seen the verses, to imprison him till a while. And the guys entered the prison with him. One of them said, "I see myself squeezing wine." And the other said, "I see myself carrying bread above my head, among it the birds are eating. Inform us with its interpretation, we see you are among the benefactors." He said, "It does not come to you food, except I informed you about its interpretation before it comes to you. That is from what my Lord has taught me. I have quit a creed of a kinfolk who do not believe with Allah, and they are with the hereafter infidels. And I have followed a creed of my forefathers, Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. It is not for us to associate anything with Allah. That is from Allah's bounty upon us and upon the people, but most of the people are not thankful. Almighty Jail companions are separate lords better, or Allah, Al-Wahid the One, Al-Qahar the Supreme. What you are worshipping without him, except names you have named them, you and your parents, for which Allah has not sent down among a sultan. Surely the judgment is not except for Allah. He has commanded that you are not worshipping except him. That is the valued religion, but most people do not know. Almighty Jail companions, one of you watering his master a wine, while the other will be crucified, so the birds will eat from his head. The matter was decreed, which you were within it seeking its ruling. And he said to the one he assumed that would be saved among them, "Mention me at your Lord." So Satan caused him to forget his master's mentioning, so he tarried within the jail for several lunar years. And the king said, "I visualize 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 lean ones, and 7 green spikes, and others dried up. O chieftains, seek for me in my vision its ruling, if you are for..." He said, "You will be planting for 7 consecutive lunar years. So, whatever you harvest, leave it in its spikes, except a little from what you are eating. Then after that 7, severe ones will come and will eat what you have forwarded for them, except a little from what you are fortifying. Then after that comes a year in it the people will rescue, and in it they are juicing." The king said, "Bring him to me." So when the messenger came to him, he said, "Go back to your Lord, so ask him what the condition of the women is, who cut their hands. Surely my Lord with their plot is knowledgeable." He said, "What was your condition when you seduced Joseph about himself?" They said, "Prevention for Allah. We did not know bad about him." The cherished man's woman said, "Now the right came out. It was I who seduced him, and he is among the truthful ones. That is to let him know that I did not betray him with the unseen, and surely Allah does not guide the betrayer's plot. And I am not exonerating myself. Surely the soul commands with the badness, except whatever my Lord has mercified. Surely my Lord is forgiver, merciful." And the king said, "Bring him to me, and I will exclusivize him for myself." So when he spoke to him, he said, "Today you are with us and enabled and honorable." He said, "Set me up on the earth's treasures, I am a keeper and knowledgeable." And thus we enabled Joseph in the earth to settle from it wherever he willed. We inflict with our mercy whoever we will, and we never waste the benefactor's wage. And the hereafter wage is a goodness for those who believed and were showing piety. And Joseph's brothers came, so they entered upon him. So he recognized them while they were denying him. And when he equipped them with their equipment, he said, "Bring me with a brother of yours from your father. Haven't you seen that I fulfill the volume measure, and I am the best hostler? So, if you do not bring with him to me, so there is no volume measure for you with me, nor you near me." They said, "We will seduce his father about him, and surely we will do it." And he said for his guys, "Set up their goods in their saddlebags. Perhaps they may recognize them if they return to their families, perhaps they may be returning." So when they returned to their father, they said, "O our father was prevented from us. The volume measures said, "O our father, we are not transgressing." Here are our goods, return to us, and we will profit our family and keep our brother and increase an additional camel measure. That is an easy measure. He said, I will not send him with you, unless you bring me a charter from Allah that you will bring him back to me, unless you should be surrounded with you. So, when they gave him their charter, he said, Allah, about what we say is trustee. And he said, O my sons, do not enter from one door and enter from different doors. And I do not avail you from Allah in anything. Surely the judgment is except for Allah. On him I rely, and on him, so they will rely on the reliable ones. And when they entered from where their father had commanded them, it was not availed about them from Allah of a thing, except just a need in Jacob's soul, which he accomplished. And surely he was a knowledge's possessor for what we taught him, but most of the people are not knowing. And when they entered upon Joseph, he sheltered his brother to him. He said, I am your brother. So do not be sorrowful with what they were working. So when he equipped them with their equipment, he set up the drinking cup in his brother's saddlebag. Then an announcer called out, O animal riders, you are thieves. They said, and they approached them, what are you missing? They said, we are missing the king's cup, and whoever brings with it will have a camel measure, and I am with it a claimer. They said, by Allah, you already know we did not come to spoil the earth, and we are not thieves. They said, what shall be his penalty, if you are liars? They said, his penalty, whoever was found in his saddlebag, so it will be his penalty. And thus we penalize the oppressors. So he started with their bags before his brother's bag. Then he extracted it out of his brother's bag. And thus we planned for Joseph he could not take his brother in the king's religion unless that Allah willed. We elevate whoever we will have degrees and above every knowledge possessor, a knowledgeable. They said, if he steals, then already a brother for him has stolen before. So Joseph secreted it within himself and did not appear it to them. He said, you are in an evil position, and Allah is a knower with what you are describing. They said, O the cherished man, he has a father,
a very old man, so take one of us in his place. Surely, we see you among the benefactors.
Return back to your father, so you say, O our father, surely your son has stolen. And we did not witness except with what we know, and we were not keepers for the unseen. And ask the village which we were in, and the animal riders in which we came within them. And surely we are truthful. He said, Nay, but your souls have facilitated a command for you. So, beautiful patience. Perhaps Allah will bring me with them altogether. He is Al-Alim the Knower, Al-Hakim the Wise. And he turned away from them and said, O my sorrow upon Joseph. And his eyes whitened from the grief, so he was a suppressor. They said, by Allah, you will be still remembering Joseph until you are fatally ill or be among the destroyed ones. He said, I only complain of my suffering and my grief to Allah, and I know from Allah what you are not knowing. O my sons, go then sense of Joseph and his brother, and do not despair from Allah's spirit. Surely none despairs from Allah's spirit except the infidels' kinfolk. So, when they entered upon him, they said, O the cherished man, the harm has touched us and our family, and we have brought scant merchandise. So, fulfill for us the measure, and give alms upon us. Surely Allah recompense the charitable ones. He said, were you knowing what you did with Joseph and his brother when you were ignorant ones? They said, are you, yourself, Joseph? He said, I am Joseph, and this is my brother. Allah has conferred favors upon us, that whoever shows piety and be patient, so Allah never wastes the benefactor's wage. They said, by Allah, Allah has already preferred you over us, and we were guilty ones. He said, there is no reproach upon you today. Allah forgives you, and He is the best merciful of the merciful ones. Go with my shirt this, so throw it over my father's face, he will come seeing, and bring to me your family altogether. And when the animal riders dispatched, their father said, I find Joseph's smell, unless you would be disproving. They said, by Allah, you are still in your old astray. So, when the preacher came, he threw it over his face, so he returned seeing. He said, am I not saying to you that I know from Allah what you are not knowing? They said,
Our father, seek forgiveness for our misdeeds. We were guilty ones. He said, I will ask my Lord to forgive you. He is Al-Ghafur the Forgiver, Al-Rahim the Merciful to his creation and himself. So, when they entered upon Joseph, he sheltered his parents to him and said, Enter Egypt, if Allah will, safe. And he elevated his parents on the throne, and they fell down in prostration for him. He said, O my father, this is the interpretation of my vision before. My Lord has already set it up true. He excelled to me when he exited me out of prison and brought by you from the Bedouins, after Satan had obsessed between me and my brothers. Surely my Lord is kind for what he wills. He is Al-Alim the Knower, Al-Hakim the Wise. My Lord, you already gave me among the sovereignty and taught me the narrations and interpretations. Originator of the skies and the earth, you are my guardian in the dunya, the hereafter. Decease me submitting Muslim and join me with the righteous.